So, good afternoon, everyone. In behalf of the World Giftedness Center, it really gives me so much pleasure to welcome you all today for our webinar workshop on how we can guide you through the submission for the School Global Award Initiative of Talented Education. Let me just share my screen, and I will do a full screen mode so that everyone will be able to see it. So again, thank you all for joining us. I am Dr. Rhoda Myra Garces Baksal. I'm currently serving as the Assistant Dean for Research and Graduate Studies with the College of Education at United Arab Emirates University. I'm also serving an Associate Professor with the Department of Special and Gifted Education. So it's really my honor and my privilege to be with you this afternoon. I think we will be posting this on social media. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, your time. And I hope that this mini workshop will prove to be helpful for all of you. So here is our agenda for today's session. First, I'll provide you with an overview of what the World Giftedness Center is all about. And then I'll give you some background information about what the award is and what are the incentives given to the award recipients. And then we'll run through the criteria for the evaluation of the candidates who will make it in terms of the short list and then the long list of the candidates, and then the conditions of submission, as well as what are the expected project outcomes that should also be submitted by whoever is interested in receiving the award, and what are some of the required documents that you will need to submit as part of your application process, in addition to the application form. And then lastly, where to apply. And if we have a little bit of time, I'll try to share with you as well the portal itself and the website itself, the link, and just going through the entire process together. So hopefully that would help you. Okay, so first let's begin with an overview of the World Giftedness Center. So it's essentially a very unique initiative of the Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum Foundation for Medical and Educational Sciences to support best practices, distinguished efforts in gifted education, talent development, and related areas. I'm really very proud that we have worked very closely with the World Giftedness Center in Hamdan as well, in their commitment to really provide support to educators, teachers, and gifted students, not only in the UAE, but also around the globe. So the aim of the World Giftedness Center is to advance gifted education, provide support to different countries all over the world. There is the very basic and fundamental recognition that, our gifted children, they really hold the keys to our future. So it's very important to invest time and efforts to really support them and guide them as needed. Part of the aim of the World Giftedness Center is also to trigger a worldwide effort to help individuals enhance excellence, and to also promote and disseminate a culture of excellence locally and globally. So this international aspect is really key to all that the World Giftedness Center do, which is why the name is World Giftedness Center. So the long-term objective of WGC is to be able to establish a very dynamic and interactive platform that will serve the international community, so that together we have a group of like-minded and very passionate and very committed individuals whose goal in life is really to nurture gifts and talents and to disseminate this culture of innovation as well as best practices, and to also share that with each other as part of a scholarly community. One of the things that the World Giftedness Center also does is to publish this World Talent Web newsletter. It's free. It's widely disseminated to international contacts, in the US, in Europe, in the UK, Canada, Australia, all parts of the globe, just gathering together, what scholars have been doing in their respective fields in the areas of gifted and talent development. So this World Talent Web newsletter is absolutely free. I have included the QR code for you to scan. I believe that the latest edition is already out and you can download it for free. And that is also the link wgc.ae/newsletter. We at the College of Education, the Department of Special and Gifted Education, we try as much as we can to also contribute one or two pieces here and there over the years, so that people will know about how vibrant and how dynamic the academic community is when it comes to serving gifted and talented individuals. So it collects all kinds of innovative initiatives, ideas of best practices, not just from academics or researchers, but also practitioners such as teachers and educators and counselors as well, making them available for anybody interested in gifted education and talent development worldwide. So I really recommend for you to familiarize yourself with the World Giftedness Center, our partners as well, by taking a look at some of the very latest editions of the World Talent Web newsletter, because these are the people whom you could expect to encounter basically in the field. So here are some information about the award and the incentive. So this is the second workshop that I have conducted. Yesterday, we finished the workshop focusing on research, applied research when it comes to gifted education. This award in particular zeroes in on the School Global Award Initiative of Talented Education. So I think it's very important for you to know exactly what are the goals of this particular award and who are eligible to apply for it. So essentially, the goal of this award is to stimulate global efforts in order to advance gifted education in schools and provide dynamic support for the community of gifted and talented learners. So please take note that it's intended for outstanding schools project or program. So if you are teaching in a school, you're a guidance counselor in a school, you're leading some talent development programs in your respective schools, then you will be the perfect candidate for this particular award, especially if you're doing initiatives that are related to talented education and gifted individuals. So private schools from K to pre-university are eligible to contribute to the award, especially if they are serving the community of gifted and talented students. So please take note of those considerations. Now, what are the incentives if you are selected for the award? The winner will receive 25,000 US dollars. You would also be provided a certificate, a trophy, and if you are living overseas, a round-trip flight in economy class and accommodations to attend the honoring ceremony. Because this is a World Giftedness Center Award, it's open to absolutely anyone in the world. So please make sure that you share it with as many people as you can, disseminate the information as widely as possible, because really the goal here is for us to also learn from each other in terms of best practices and celebrating those best practices and recognizing the efforts that are being done by conscientious, passionate, driven educators. So the school principal or the representative so only one person will be invited to attend the honoring ceremony. So the round-trip flight in economy class is basically allocated to either the school principal or the representative from the school. So the value of the award will also be given to the school, represented by the school principal. Now, the school principal could allocate 30% of the total amount for future development of the project or the program, in case they're keen to continue doing what they're doing, the good things that they're already doing. And the 70% could be equally distributed among the team members of the program. So the award amount will be transferred, of course, after the award ceremony. So those are the incentives. Now, I have been very privileged to be a part of the judging committee for the past 2 years now. And please do take note of the evaluation criteria. And it is important for you to prepare a dossier that would be strategically and purposively aligned to the evaluation criteria components. So this particular workshop is meant to be really helpful for you all. So the team representing the school, whoever would be submitting the dossier for consideration for the award, should provide very concrete evidence to justify or to provide a demonstration of the contributions of the project or the program. And the dossier should also describe in great detail, explaining what the project or program contributions and providing clear and convincing proof for all of those claimed activities and practices. So it's not enough that you say that you're doing certain things. You have to be able to provide a great amount of evidence to really strengthen your application. And the evaluation committee also reserves the right to request further documentation at any stage of the evaluation process if anything is unclear. I would suggest and I would advise you, though, to make sure that before submission, you review your work very closely to make sure that all the attendant criteria in terms of the evaluation are accounted for. And these are the evaluation criteria. So you have to provide a very clear rationale for the project, the reason for its existence to begin with. Why is it in operation in your school? So that's worth 25 points. And then project quality is also worth 25 points. Project impact and how you measured the impact of the project is, of course, worth 35 points. And then professional responsibilities, ethical commitments towards giftedness would be worth 10 points. And then very clear articulation of the challenges that you have faced and your project future planning would be worth 10 points. So the first, well, actually the project rationale, project quality, project impact, problems faced, and project future planning, these are things that as a talent development program coordinator or a head teacher, you should be very, very familiar with. The project quality could also include your scope and sequence, could include some information about how the entire program has been run in the first place. Project impact could be measured in terms of specific evaluation criteria that you've used. Either you've measured it before or after or while the program itself is ongoing. And we thought that it would be good to kind of like provide even further information about the professional responsibilities and ethical commitments, because all the other four are related to your program itself. And if you look at the professional responsibilities and ethical commitments, because you will have to provide evidence for each of these evaluation criteria, right? So the professional responsibilities and ethical commitments include indicators such as previous contributions of the school to the field of giftedness. So if you have a track record of providing support to gifted and talented individuals, of course, that would make your application much stronger. And then if whoever submitted the application also has career-related professional academic programs, activities offered by the school to the staff involved in serving and supporting gifted students, as well as professional development opportunities provided by the school for the staff involved. So include all of that as part of your evidence or as part of your indicators for the criteria on professional responsibilities and ethical commitment towards giftedness. And then the professional competence of the team involved, your sense of professionalism, your school affiliation and collaboration with other professional organizations and or institutions, maybe within your community or even outside of your community. If you're part of, for example, the World Council for Gifted and Talented. So all of your affiliations that are in connection to supporting gifted and talented, include that all here in this particular criteria. And okay, I'm not able to see my screen because wait, let me just, okay. Measures taken by the school to protect the safety and the privacy of beneficiaries. So this ethical component part is also very, very strongly investigated or evaluated as part of your application process. So you need to ensure that you provide some information concerning this as well. Okay, right. Now, what are some of the conditions of submission, as well as an elucidation of the project outcomes that you will need to include? You will see here that as we break down again project outcomes, it will just essentially be the evaluation criteria that I just mentioned. So that alignment needs to be very strongly surfaced in your application, okay? And since this is a school initiative and this is a school award, it is important that the school principal is involved every step of the way, because the school principal would be the one held accountable when it comes to the authenticity and the verification of the information, all of the documents that have been submitted, and for approving and the signing of the application form. So I really, really strongly suggest that you work very closely with your school principal, with your school leader on this, because their signature, their final approval is essential to the submission. Now, what are some of the conditions? Again, I know that this is already found on the website, and it's also included in the downloadable PDF file when you go to the website. But again, very few people actually take the time to go through each one of the conditions very closely, which results in, a disqualification of the application because they did not attend to all of the details as closely as they should, which is the reason why we're having this workshop to begin with. So let's go over them one by one to make sure that you tick all of the boxes, okay? So this is, again, let me repeat, this is eligible, this is open to public and private schools from K1 through pre-university. So higher educational institutions, unfortunately, are not included as part of the award, okay? So K1 through pre-university, who have outstanding contributions, they could apply for this award. Note that since this award is meant for gifted and talented education, the project or the program, of course, should be specifically relevant to the field of gifted and talented education. The aim is to support gifted and talented learners, including high creatives as well. All submitted documents should be written in English. Of course, since this is open globally, internationally, worldwide, we use the language that is common across most countries around the world, which is English. So any document submitted in any other language will not be considered. So for those of you who may be applying from the Middle Eastern or the GCC area, some of your maybe ready-made documents that you share with your stakeholders may be written in Arabic. You will have to translate all of those in English for your submission. I would also very strongly recommend that you don't just provide like a ready-made PDF that you just provide to all of your stakeholders, but rather really prepare a dossier that would align to the evaluation criteria included in this particular award. So make sure that you really find the time to do that. So the submitted project should have been functioning at least for the last 3 years as of the applicant's point of submission. So now is 2024. So at least it should be in operation from 2021 until the present time. So 22, 23, 24. Okay. Now, obtaining an award or an appreciation for the appreciation certificate by the school for supporting and enhancing gifted education either at the local or the national level is also an advantage. So if you've already won some recognition or some award for the work that you do with gifted and talented learners, make sure that you include that as part of your evidence to, again, strengthen your application. The project or the program should also not be fully or partially supported by Hamdan Foundation. Otherwise, it will be considered a conflict of interest. A project or a program that is used to apply for the award also cannot be simultaneously used to apply for any other award of Hamdan Foundation, because Hamdan actually sponsors quite a number of awards every year. So make sure that you only put your egg in one particular basket in this case. The winning project or program of this award cannot be used again in the future. So let's say, for example, after 2 years of trying, you will again try even after you have already won the award. So you can't do that, or any other award of Hamdan Foundation. So just once, okay? Now, the project or the program should also not contain any sectarian, partisan, or political agenda. It should really just be solely about supporting gifted and talented learners in your school. It is also very important for you to be very professional in your communication about any questions, any inquiries you may have concerning the award, and that you should not contact any member of the jury for any clarifications or questions. I will share with you later on the email address that you should be corresponding with in the event that you encounter some challenges in uploading any of your files, in providing any of the evidence for your dossier, for your submission. But please do not contact a jury member, because it could result in the exclusion of the applicant from the award. Hamdan also reserves the right to take any disciplinary action, either withdrawing the award from the winners or even suspending their candidacy if it became clear later on that they were involved in any activity that violates the conditions of the award. It's also important for the representative of the school. It could be, while of course the principal needs to sign off on the application, whoever is filling it out or working on it in the portal or the website could be the coordinator of the program, right? So the team representing the school should be ready to provide original documents or any further documentation relevant to the submission in the event that any of the evaluation committee members request for it at any point in time during the evaluation process. Okay, so make sure that you have complete documentation of everything that you've done for this particular program. Now, Hamdan also reserves the right to use the content of the submission for publication, including but not limited to showcasing the work of the winners and sharing best practices with the wider community through various media channels and training materials. Remember that the goal or the intention or the aim of the World Giftedness Center is to basically serve as a repository and international platform for like-minded educators, scholars, practitioners, and gifted and talented education from around the world, in order for us to learn from each other, in order for us to be inspired by the work that we do. And so it's not just meant to be gate kept, but rather shared with the larger international community to learn from. So it's really that idea of supporting and fostering excellence whenever we can. Now, you will also need to provide very clear project outcomes in the website itself, in the portal. And I will show you a little bit later that you will have to be very strategic in how you articulate the project outcomes, because in the portal, there are limits in terms of the number of words or sometimes the number of characters. When you provide, for example, a clear description of the project or the program, including all necessary information about the 5 components mentioned earlier as part of the evaluation criteria. Again, I will repeat that just describing and explaining the program is not sufficient. It is not enough unless you provide very concrete evidence that will support all of the claims that you have mentioned across the 5 evaluation criteria. And if you will be uploading evidence, make sure as well that the evidence that you upload are in the correct file name, and that the file name reflects exactly the contents of that particular file that you have uploaded. So these are little things, but they matter a great deal in the larger scheme of things, especially if the competition is very tight, because it will show the amount of time that you have invested in really making sure that your submission is as clear as you possibly can be. So don't leave the hunting down of certain components of the evaluation criteria to the judges. Make sure that you yourself in your submission, it's all very clear how why you are deserving of the maximum number of points allocated across the evaluation criteria. And you can see here those 5 components, basically. So project rationale, which is worth 20 points, the quality of contributions, 25 points, what the impact of the program is, and then you will have an opportunity to upload your evidence for this. And then professional responsibilities and ethical commitments towards giftedness, problems faced, and future planning. So again, how you would present your evidence across each of these criteria would also reveal how neat, how systematic, how diligently and painstakingly arranged each one is as it aligns to each of the project criteria. There is a tendency to just provide as much information as you want when you submit, but not really aligning those files or those supporting evidence across the criteria. So try to avoid that as much as possible. Make sure that everything that you provide contributes significantly to your argument for each of the evaluation criteria indicated here. Now, what are some of the required documents that you also need to submit as part of your application form? So required documents include some evidence for having ongoing contributions for yourself as the professional for at least 5 years, evidence that the submitted project or program for the award has been developed within the last 3 years, as I have noted earlier. So that will be from 2021 until 2024. And it is still functioning as at the applicant's point of submission. You have to be able to provide all evidence, examples for all claimed activities and practices. And then evidence if you have received any award or any appreciation certificate, you need to also provide evidence for that if applicable. And then you also have the opportunity to submit a project main file. One of the things that we've noted over the years is that sometimes the project main file is a generic description of the program, like I said earlier, that is prepared by the school to disseminate across their multiple stakeholders. Try to avoid doing that. Make sure that the project main file aligns itself once again to the evaluation criteria, including all of your supporting documents. So this will be like your master file that contains absolutely everything that in support of your application. Because like I said earlier, you will have to also fill out the online form, which would have some constraints or restrictions when it comes to number of words or number of characters. But the project main file can be as comprehensive and can be as detailed as you wish, because it's going to be like a PDF file or a document file that you will upload. So make sure that you're very, very strategic when you do this as well. Okay, so here are some information that you would need to provide as part of your application form. And you can see here again that the school principal is fully responsible for the authenticity and the verification of all information and documents submitted, and then for doing the final sign off of the application form itself. So you have the team leader's information. So the name should match the passport image that you would also need to upload on the website. Then you also need to provide information about demographic information about your nationality, gender, date of birth, academic degree, years of experience on the job, your contact number, email address, and so forth. Now, apart from the team leader information, you also need to provide the school's information, okay, including the school contact email, website, the principal name, and so forth. And if you are not alone as part of this program and you have other team members, you need to provide information about your other team members representing the school across practically everything that I have just mentioned earlier from the team leader's information. But this time you also need to include what is the role of that particular team member in the project, what were their duties and contributions as well. And then finally, the project information with the project title, who are your intended audience, and then the project location, and then the project website if you have a website as well. Okay. Now, where do you apply? So you don't send anything by email. Everything should be done through the platform, through this website. So it's https takim.ha.ae. So I've also included a QR code for you to scan. And like I said earlier, if you have any questions whatsoever, if you encounter any challenges, I've registered a new, I've registered myself once again through the platform in order for me to kind of like see what you should expect when you do your submission. And again, it's very important for you to make sure that you send an email to wgc.awards@ha.ae if you encounter any challenges. One of the challenges that I faced in particular would be sometimes the website switches to Arabic rather than English. So make sure that you click on the appropriate language. I think it's on the top right of your screen to make sure that everything is in order. For those of you who are here in the UAE, or even those who are based internationally, if you really feel that you urgently need to speak to someone about what's going on in your application process, there is also a number that you can call. It's +9714-501-3387. So just make sure that you have all of this information. Do not contact any member of the jury for any of your questions, but just this official email address. Okay. So like I said, I took screenshots just to kind of like prepare you on what you should be expecting. Okay, so I think there was a glitch there. Okay, so I hope that's settled now. So this is basically what you will see when you go to that web link that I just shared with you together with the QR code. So of course, for you, you will have to create a new account and you need to apply for a registration. And then once you apply for registration, you will get an email in your indicated email address with a temporary password. So that is what you will use to log in to the award system, where you put in your email and then you put in the password that has been provided to you when you register. And then when you finally enter the platform, you will be prompted with these varied competition categories. As I've mentioned earlier, this is not the only award that Hamdan and the World Giftedness Center is sponsoring. There are quite a number of awards that are also being given out every year across the Gulf, local competition categories as well. Make sure that for this particular award, click on the international competition category. And then when you click on that, you will be prompted again whether you will be applying for the applied research or the School Global Award Initiative. So this workshop is about the School Global Award Initiative of Talented Education. So you click on that and you can see here on top, right? So that School Global Award Initiative of Talented Education. So I've created a new request, and then you can see here again the prompt. Make sure that you read through each and every single one of them as well, which I have just run through with you earlier about the school principal being held accountable for the authenticity of everything that has been submitted. Make sure, so this is again one of the little things that I often forget, and I'm glad that I went through it myself because I could tell what are some of the loopholes or the challenges that you might face, make sure that you click on this little box that you agree to the terms and conditions above. Otherwise, you cannot move on to the next page. Okay. And it also says here that you have to make sure that the name of the attached file that you upload would exactly reflect its contents, including evidence for your ongoing contribution as a practitioner, as a teacher for at least 5 years, evidence that the submitted project or program for the award has been developed within the last 3 years, evidence and examples for all claimed activities and practices. So again, the cleaner your application is, the cleaner the file name that it aligns with this particular evaluation criteria, the better the application process would be. And then, of course, the project main file. Okay, so once you clicked on that, you accept the terms and the conditions, you will now see this prompt. Have you attended the training workshop implemented by the organization in this field? So if you are here today and you are submitting an application, or if you've watched this on social media, then you click on yes. And then you put in all of your demographic information, your name, your nationality, etc. And then you also need to provide, again, details about your school, like I said earlier, when I showed you the application process, right? And then information of other team members. So if you have other team members, just click on add member and then provide the name, nationality, highest academic degree, years of experience, their role, their duties and their contribution, and then their email address. Okay. And then this is what I was saying earlier in terms of the limit in the word count. And here it's not really a word count, but more of character. So there's a difference between the word count and the character count, right? So make sure that for each criteria, you write it within 20,000 characters for each criterion. So you would also have the opportunity to provide the project main file, right? That is where you can be as wordy as you want. But because that's a PDF file, right, that you will upload. But here, my recommendation really is to make it as concise, as straightforward, and as pointed as possible, indicating how you fit into each of these evaluation criteria. Very clear project rationale. You're able to articulate very confidently the quality of the contributions of your particular program, its impact, what are your professional responsibilities, and then the challenges that have been faced in the process of doing the program, as well as your plans for the future. Okay, so those are the 5 evaluation criteria. So make sure that at least in this section, you are as concise, as straightforward, but also as comprehensive as you possibly can in providing your argument. So this is how you have to be able to sell yourself here. Okay. Now, when is the deadline for the submission for this award? It's going to be on the 19th of September. I also would strongly recommend that you follow the World Giftedness Center on Instagram. They have an Instagram account. I think it's called World Giftedness Center. That's how I found all of these very nice images. And it would kind of like prompt you and remind you that, wait, the deadline is near. I think I will have to really work on the dossier, the main project file, as soon as I can. So March 2024 is when the start of the World Giftedness iteration for the year 2024 began. And then the launch of the media campaign happened early this year. 19th of September is the deadline for submission. October will be the judging of the submissions. And then to be announced, to be determined when the announcement of the winners' names are going to be. Okay, but make sure that you mark this in your calendar. It's going to be on the 19th of September for both the Applied Research Global Award of Talented Education, which I have talked about yesterday, and then the School Global Award Initiative of Talented Education, which is what we're discussing today. So again, as a reminder, here is the website. where you can apply for the award. Here is the QR code again. And for any inquiries, please send an email to wgc.awards@ha.ae, or just give them a call at +9714-501-3387. So I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. I will now stop my sharing just in case there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roda. We'll be waiting. If there is any questions, you can press on Q&A and we will receive it.
And we have also provided the email address in the event that, you feel a little embarrassed to ask questions through here. You can also reach out by email or by phone too. We really hope to receive a lot of submissions, both locally and internationally, because we truly learn a lot from this experience as well.
Okay, doctor, I think there is no.
Okay, so
Thank you so much.
I wish everyone the best. Please do share with us some of your best practices, and hopefully, inshallah, you will be this year's award recipient.
Thank you. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you so much.
Nice weekend also.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.